Hello, Freaky Frighteners. You got the Brewster here, and I am with my Pookie Bear, the mastermind behind Talkin Tapes, for this episode of Brewster Vision Presents Mental Health. Tiki, what's up, Pookie?
What's going on, everyone?
It's good to see you, buddy. It's been a minute.
I have not made an appearance on the internet besides occasionally I pop in for about 1 minute on the Whole Damn Enchilada podcast. Besides that, I have been in the shadows for the couple months, so this is, kind of my big return to the internet, I guess.
And I'm ecstatic that you chose me to do that.
Thank you.
So, no, thank you, man. So
it only makes sense.
So you know me, you know what this is about. Take the floor, man. I mean, tell us about what you want to talk about, as far as mental health goes.
So I guess the subject of this is horror related to mental health.
Yeah, how did you use horror to cope with it is what I usually have people on for. I know I have my reasons, which we haven't really fully delved into yet. But
like most horror fans, I was introduced to horror at a really young age. Did not have the greatest of childhoods. Went through a lot of things a young man should never have to face. And horror has always been a major form of escapism, and I think that's a lot of people in the community use it for. It's an hour and a half to shut your brain off, and connect to something else. I'm better about now. I am a very depressed man. I'm an emotional man, but horror has elevated my sense of community, I would say. I've sparked new friendships from it. It's done a lot. I am a recovering addict, which goes in hand. I am on the spectrum. When you're on the spectrum, addiction becomes very easy to pick up and be a thing. And for years and years, I was trying to find my place in this world. As a teenager, I was a punk. I still listen to my punk music. I love 80s hardcore. It's my favorite music. I love Descendants, Black Flag, Misfits. And then when in my 20s, I became a deadhead, which is a virtual 360 from being a young punk. And the whole time I'd say I was trying to discover something about myself and figure out who I was. But when you're into the Grateful Dead, you tend to get into things you shouldn't be into. It's not known as the cleanest community. And then a few years back, I've always loved horror, read books, read all of it, didn't collect or anything. I went to my first horror hound in Cincinnati, and it kind of sparked something in me. And, cockily, not trying to sound cocky, I am a pillar in the Cleveland horror community. I have brought a lot of people together. I've done a lot of cool stuff. And out of all the walks of life I've taken, horror has been the best. It's the most understanding people who genuinely care about me, and just a lot. It's really awesome.
I can vouch for you being big in the or as you put it, in the horror community. I mean, you're a big part of the reason I'm at where I'm at today, so I can't thank you enough for that one.
Yeah, I'm teaching the old guys to edit videos.
So, all right, backtracking a little bit, you mentioned your childhood. Is that something you want to go into or no?
So I'm a firm believer, and it might be because I'm older, and I know it plays differently for everyone. I was raised by a single mom, abusive boyfriends. In the 90s, the autism wasn't scanned how it is these days. So a lot of medication that I shouldn't have been on. I will say my mother is one of the greatest women, and I have the ultimate cigarette mom.
What's that mean?
Like my mom is. You ever watch Roseanne?
Of course.
My mom's Roseanne.
Oh, okay.
So like a cigarette mom. She's gonna talk shit and smoke cigarettes, but I have the world's greatest mother, so I came out okay. But I'm a firm believer, and this might be a controversial opinion. If you carry on your adult life with not dealing with the traumas of your childhood and using that as an excuse for why you act and do things certain ways, you'll never be able to fix yourself. There's a certain point where you need to sit down, go see a mental health specialist. They work wonders. It's something to be ashamed for, but you got to let go of the things you cannot change. And as much as I do believe I had a shitty childhood, I also didn't have censorship as a kid. So a lot of it plays into my interest because I was able to watch these movies and listen to this music at fucking 10 years old. There's only one movie my mom ever banned from our house, and it was House of a Thousand Corpses. And we owned it on DVD, and I watched it as soon as she went to work. So it's the only movie she ever banned.
So you mentioned that movie not being able to watch it as a kid, and I forget how much older than you I am because I actually saw it in theaters, and I'm thinking, why couldn't he? I'm like, oh yeah.
I just turned 30 in November.
Fuck you. So do you think that led into, and like I said, kind of bounced around with what you just already told me in the thing. You had you were an addict.
I was.
And do you think that led into it? I mean, your childhood?
No, I mean, some people, I know there's other people with opinions. No, I didn't look at a pile of cocaine and go, man, my childhood sucked. Let me do this cocaine. Yeah. I like strippers a lot. That's what played into me really liking drugs. Mm-hmm. And I come from a long line of drunks.
Yeah.
You know, and it, in a sense, and as crazy as it sounds, it was avoiding the inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to, I mean, I still enjoy a good beer every now and then, but luckily I haven't done drugs in over 1,000 days. You know, I'm sober, but I don't blame anyone for my addictions because when you get sober, you realize there's no one to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
At any point, you get the option to say stop. It's not until you genuinely want to stop that you actually do it.
So, and like, I hope this conversation isn't triggering for you or anything.
Oh no, brother. Look, here's the thing about being an addict. You and all your friends get clean, and the only thing you guys can talk about is doing drugs. I talk to my friends every day. We're the type of friends that talk on the phone nonstop, and half the times, like, I wish I could take a bump about this. You know, I'm a big fan of joking everything off.
Yeah,
but it really is a sense of healing.
Because, well, the time of this recording, the episode with my coworker Bart, it's about to go up in a couple hours, so you haven't seen it yet. But he talks about his past with alcoholism, and as you saw the Kylie episode, she talked about her past with addiction. So I didn't know if you wanted to talk, like, kind of go more into that, because I people who know me know I lost my brother to a cocaine overdose back in 2020, and I'm sure you've had people in your life when you were going through that. You know, I mean, I'm trying to kind of give hope to people with mental health and stuff, and
so
you know, just kind of tell more into that.
From going from the punk scene to, you know, being a deadhead, I have lost a significant amount of friends before I hit 30.
Yeah.
People I never thought I would ever, you know, people I thought I'd be old men with in the garage, you know, and I don't know where I was going with that, but it's the life, man. You know, you make your decisions.
Yeah.
And mental health does play a lot into it, but maybe it's my own mindset. I do not like excuses for my behavior. And also, I think, like, when I listen to other people's drug stories, they're very dramatic, and mine are all fun and whimsical.
Yeah.
Which is fucked up as it sounds. Like, you know, like, I never OD'd. I never, you know, I wasn't in the trenches. I never went to jail. I never went to rehab.
Yeah.
I woke up one day and said, wow, I never want to feel like this again.
Yeah.
And I stopped. So, like, I wasn't at that. I used to drink 12 beer. I drank 12 beers a day minimum for 8 years.
Yeah.
You know, doing countless grams of cocaine. I did ketamine. Big proponent of psychedelics. Was on the smorgasbord. You know, the poo-poo platter of narcotics, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, but when I tell my stories, I don't want to make it sound like doing drugs is fun.
Yeah.
It is not fun, but also I have had the best times of my life involve me doing drugs. So it's very much a double-edged sword. Like I said, I didn't go through the trials and tribulations many other people have, but also not saying these other people do. I am very cocky and have insane willpower. So if I want something, I'm going to go out there and fucking reach for it. So it did make sobriety easy. And that's why, like, I don't want to share the stories of me on drugs because they make it just sound fun.
Yeah.
And it's not fun. It was gross. But I was a man in his 20s, and everyone loves those 20-year-olds fucked up stories.
Yeah. So that's what I'm curious about is you said you woke up one morning, you didn't want to feel that way. I'm sure you'd woken up many times like that before, right?
Oh, it takes a couple of times to actually convince yourself.
Well, what was it about that one time that you were just like, this is enough?
At the time I was married.
Yeah.
And also I was in a poly relationship. So I had another partner. We were all, we were a throuple type deal. And I broke it off with the one girl. And she had a suicide attempt.
Oh, Jesus.
And so I had to go sit at her house while my wife, it was just a messy situation.
Yeah.
And just over observing. And then later that night, we all went to a friend's house. And my friend, I'm not going to name names, but he's like about a 40-year-old man. And there was a bunch of us in his house. And I watched him do a huge line of cocaine. And, I did one. And then when you're on cocaine, you become hyper vigilant.
Oh, yeah.
So I started scanning the room. I sat there for probably 2 hours and didn't say a word. And I was staring at this man. He's 40 years old. There's a bunch of 20-year-olds in his house partying and everything. And I thought that was normal. And then as I sat there and I processed it, I'm looking at this guy. I was like, I do not want to fucking be this.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucked up. And I went home, Ubered home at 8 in the morning, looked at my wife at the time, and was like, I never want to do this again. And then I went through the process of isolation. So I deleted and blocked everyone who could be a trigger. I sat in my house and I did absolutely nothing for 8 months. I played Fortnite and I watched professional wrestling. I still partook in the kush, but I didn't know that, they say getting sober does things to your body. And I lost all feelings in my hands and my feet for about 5 months, to the point where I could barely walk. And that's because my body was so used to intaking narcotics and alcohol every day. So when I cut it off cold turkey, I quit cigarettes, alcohol, cocaine, ketamine, and every other drug all on the same day. Cold turkey. And it was, even if you think you don't do, I did a lot. I'm a good partier. But yeah, I woke up one morning, I couldn't feel my fingertips. I couldn't feel my toes. I went to the emergency room because I thought I had a stroke. And then they're like, well, no, you didn't have a stroke. So I had to have an MRI done and all that jazz. And eventually everything came back.
Yeah.
But the consensus is either a push disc in my back, or it was narcotics.
Well, so I don't know if I had to that level. We've never really shared these stories, but when I was in my 20s as well, and I was doing the party thing or whatever, and it definitely ruined the relationship I was in at the time. And me and her are cool. We've made amends or whatever after like 15 years or something. So
Drugs and relationships do not mix.
Yeah, there was a happy ending there, but I still kept going for a little bit afterwards, and I didn't have like you said, like a real bad story, like no DUIs, no nothing like that. But you don't realize, even thinking back now when I reminisce, was because I still talk to not those types of people, but friends from that area or whatever. We reminisce about the times we were hanging out back then and stuff. But I block out coming home, after being out all night, coming home in the morning to like just an empty apartment. And it was a fun party night, but then you got that whole time before that. And I never used it home. And so it was just kind of like having to wait till the next weekend. And it's a miserable time. You block out,
Oh, the coming home, especially when you're on uppers and laying in your bed.
Yeah.
And you can't sleep. So you stare at the ceiling and you think through your whole life. You're like, I'm never going to do this again. Every addict, at least in the realm I'm in, does this. And you sit there and you think, I'm never going to do this again. I'm going to, when I wake up in the morning, that was my last night ever. And then here you go. The weekend starts. You show up at the music venue and it all starts again. I mean, I saw a live band every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for probably a good 13 years of my life.
Yeah.
Traveled the whole United States. I've seen the greats of every genre. I've seen every folk punk band you can think of. Had them sleeping in my mom's basement.
Yeah.
Like all the great punk greats, classic rock. And it was the same story. That's why, some people it doesn't work for, but self-isolation was a big key to me saving my sobriety, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Pro wrestling and Fortnite saved my life is a big joke between me and my friends because it genuinely did.
Yeah.
And luckily I have wonderful friends. So when I said, I'm going to get sober, they all supported me. And it was a blessing. Some didn't. Obviously, I lost some friends, but the key group stuck there. And every night, boom, we got on the Xboxes. Every wrestling pay-per-view, boom, we're all going to Tanner's. We're not going to drink. We're going to cook dinner. We're going to do this. And I'm blessed that I was given this option that not many people are.
Yeah. This is turning into more of a conversation of sharing stories, but I got lucky as well. Because like I said, when I talk about my stories, I'm not downplaying anyone else or saying there's people out there who are obviously have it a lot worse than we do. You've heard stories and stuff, but again, I got lucky with it because I was able to not do it at home. It was just a part. I was young in my early 20s in a band, so I saw myself as like,
invincible.
Exactly. I was in the party scene. I didn't do it at home to do it. I just did it because I was out drinking, partying, and doing whatever. And I just got lucky because the venue I was going at where I was getting this stuff, I for whatever reason just stopped going there. And then just, it wasn't around me anymore. So it was kind of easy for me to cut off. I just kind of had to stop going to that venue,
So I was friends with all the drug dealers, which was one of my main problems.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the height of my addiction, before marriage, before I had my kid and all that, I mean, for probably 5 years straight, I would say I was in a car accident and they dropped $100,000 in my bank account, in a 20-year-old's bank account. Worst mistake you can have. I wish I would have done anything else with that money. Mm-hmm. I did at least 4 to 7 grams of cocaine a day.
Jesus Christ.
For 5 years. On top of, when you do cocaine, you can drink unlimited beers. Mm-hmm. And I drank Miller High Life in a glass bottle. My beer choice always has been, to the point where I was living with these 2 wonderful women. They took me in. I was living in a nasty trap house. They moved me into their beautiful house. I had to buy a second trash can for the house because I drank so many beers there was no room for trash.
Yeah.
So, like, on minimum, I was drinking about 100 beers a week.
I swear to God, I feel like I'm triggering you with this conversation, brother.
You know, you're not triggering me, brother. I still drink beers, but I've had the same, so after the original, when I got sober, I went, I'm going to go 1 year and I'm going to drink beer again.
Yeah.
You know, because with drugs, it's a forever thing. I like beers. And I know if I taught myself how to, I've had the same 12 pack in my fridge for 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, I like to go out, but I'm finally able to know, like, not everyone could do this. It's literally, I don't recommend it to anyone. It's an insane way of thinking, but I've taught myself how to do it properly. I don't drink when I'm sad.
No.
I don't drink when there's something. It's just when there's something going on. My friend's getting married. I'm going to drink a couple beers.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to watch a UFC fight. I'm going to drink 2 beers. But the thought of me being drunk is so uncomfortable to me. I don't think it's ever something I'll return to.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Dave and Buster's on Christmas, I drank a couple drinks and I went home.
Yeah. I'm trying not to divulge too much of my shit. Well, it's a video. Maybe I'll have you come on and interview me for this kind of stuff or whatever. But you're not wrong. I had a couple friends back in the. Well, I'm still friends with these guys to this day, but they were going through some rough patches, and they were calling me up because they were drunk at like 4 p.m. And I'm telling them, like, you got to stop, man. I'll start tomorrow. I'm already drunk now, and eventually you just have to walk away from them and end up getting a DUI. And got his life around, but, you know, it could have been a lot worse. You know, he just got pulled over for swerving, nothing serious. He didn't get in an accident, didn't hurt anybody, but what if he did, you know?
The big joke in my family and my friend group is I've stayed out of legal trouble my whole life. My mom calls me the smartest criminal ever. You know, certain things I won't talk about on the internet I did as a young man to make money, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And, if I would have been, I don't have my driver's license.
No.
I don't drive. I have a car now, which is cool. But thank God, because I wonder how many DUIs I would have tallied up. In my 20s, but I was always forced to take an Uber.
See, we didn't have that when I was younger drinking. We just had to try to roll the dice. Hope we got lucky.
Yeah, you had to pick who's the best drunk driver. Not good. Who's the best?
No, yeah. Well, I mean, who had the least amount, kind of thing, you know?
Counting DUIs in the parking lot. Everyone pull up their legal paperwork.
Right. Check the party plates, the yellow tag stickers. Well, it's been easier for me, so I just stay away from it. You know, like I have some friends of mine who want me to revisit that venue I mentioned earlier. And I don't mention it because I got nothing against the people there, the place itself, or that kind of stuff. So just one of those things, you know, not to mention, but they're still trying to get me to take a trip there with them again. And I tell them, like, no, as the years progress, I don't like who I was back then. We can laugh at the stories and, you know, joke about it and stuff. But the truth is, and, you know, I had to do that to get where I'm at today. But I don't like who I was back then. They're like, well, we'll hang with you. We'll make sure you don't get too crazy or something. Like, it doesn't matter. What if nothing's a problem? I'm all good to go. It's like, yeah, maybe have like one drink, go home sober, no issues. But then I tell myself I can go back there because I know I can handle it. And then I'm not so lucky next time. And then next thing you know, I'm going into that vicious cycle. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
100%. The main part of sobriety is avoidance.
Yeah.
I tell everyone this, the young kids that reach out to me and everything, you know, because I used to be everywhere. Like, I'm one of those people where everyone knows me.
Yeah.
But I don't go place anymore because the best thing to do is avoid it. Not I can handle this.
Right.
Because what if I can't? I could say that, you know, you could cockily say that when you're sitting on your couch in your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you don't know, you know, the famous quote, you don't know something till it punches you in the fucking face.
Right.
And that's why it's self-isolation. If you're in your early stages of getting sober, get a hobby.
Yeah.
I got a hobby, and now I have Brewster. And I have Rick. I've gathered old men.
No, it's true, because that's one of the reasons I started Brewster in the first place was because of what I was going through at the time. So I was in a bad situation, and the person who was making it a bad situation had me by the short and curlies, and one point had said something like, because I was, just a miserable wreck and stuff, sending the text messages or whatnot, and was like, why don't you get a hobby, or you need to get a hobby, not like you have any. And then a few months later, when I was really just trying my best to get out of it, I thought to myself, I'll start that. Like, I'll make a fucking Facebook page that's just about horror movies, and then a few months later was when I found your group, that Cleveland Horror Club.
I always tell people the story. The first time I met Brewster,
oh, God.
we had a mutual internet friendship, but I was throwing shows in Cleveland, horror shows with like punk bands. They were really cool, honestly. Maybe one day I'll bring them back. But Brewster came up to me and he's like, "What's up, man?" He gave me a big hug, and we talked it off. And I thought Brewster was a gay man hitting on me, and I was like, "I'm not even upset. That's a handsome wop." I felt good. Then I found out he was straight, and I was like, "Damn." Lost a little bit of confidence there.
He's been trying to wear me down ever since.
I have to fulfill the prophecy.
But that's what I was doing, because this was about 2023, I think, when I started the Brewster page. So I'm doing it for about 3 years, and that's what it wasn't drugs at that time. That's been kicked since I'd say about summer 2009, I think. And even then, it was in the party scenario, like I mentioned. So my problems weren't what some of my friends, my brother and others have gone through or whatnot. But that's what I, just looking for local groups that talk about horror movies. And that's how we met online, was I posted in the group about just if anyone wanted to get together and get some beers and just talk, beer or coffee, and just literally just talk horror movies, And we never gotten a chance to meet up prior to your show. But, look at us now, right?
True that. I convinced Brewster to join when we were doing the Cleveland Horror Club. Still the biggest page we've ever done, just it's inactive. But we were doing that. I invited Brewster to be a writer on there, and Brewster was also the first person to ever film a Talkin Tapes episode with me.
Was that for Dubro Party Massacre 3?
Dubro Party Massacre 3. One of the best. If you've never seen it, check it out. I think I took the review down. It's privated, but what a good fucking movie.
Why did you take the review down?
I scrubbed the channel not too long ago.
How come?
I don't know. I mean, all like the specials are still up. Go check out the Talkin Tapes, like Halloween specials and stuff. But I took down most of the talking videos. So when I'm going through a divorce. I say my ex-wife. I'm still married. We're not going to get in all the details about that. Horrible things happen. Not on my end. And my mental health, now I'm luckily better. I stopped taking care of myself, which is a major part of depression. I stopped shaving my beard. I stopped brushing my hair. I stopped caring about my clothes. I had trouble showering, and I hated how I looked. And that has never been a problem in my life. I'm a bigger dude. I have never struggled in my life with my self-image. I have only been with beautiful women. I'm very a pinnacle, the prettiest fat guy you'll ever meet. Ask Rick when he's drunk. He'll tell you all about it. So I kind of took down all videos with my face in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I told everyone as all this stuff was going on, me and the wife stuff started in September. I told everyone, I said, it's going to hit 65 degrees and I'm going to be cured.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, that's insane. It hit 65 degrees outside and I'm in fact cured.
So it's just the weather? Are you one of those?
Oh,
types?
I have the worst seasonal depression you'll ever meet. I'm a very much an outside human being.
Yeah.
listen to the Grateful Dead. I sit in the sun. I'm going to have horrible skin cancer as an old man. I've never worn sunscreen.
Yeah.
I'm constantly shirtless. And I
It's
just
true.
knew,
The first time I came over, you came out in a towel.
did I?
You were getting out of the shower, yeah. Conveniently, as you knew I was coming over, just like, oh, let me just slip something on.
That means you saw my dong hanging by my ankles.
It's true. He was swinging it around like he was Charlie Murphy or some shit.
Making the ceiling fan stop with it.
So, all right, when you went through that shit last September, were you tempted to go back to old ways or no?
If I didn't have a child, so the thing about everything I went through, I was thrust upon becoming 100% full-time single dad.
Yeah.
You know, I have my son every single day of the week. At all times, all of his health stuff is handled by me, his care and everything. And, you know, if I didn't have him, I would have plummeted.
Yeah.
And I won't say that the thought didn't, you know, cross my mind like, wow, I bet you a bunch of beers could fix this.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where when everything happened, I live in Zach Ross's attic, and I hit the point where I went, I don't even think weed's going to fix this. So I stopped smoking weed. I don't do any of that anymore. And now I'm thinking as clear-headed as I ever have in my life, which is a scary concept. But when you smoke weed every day since you were 14,
yeah,
and you think, oh, yeah, it's not affecting me. That is now I'm realizing maybe one of the stupidest things people say.
Are you just smoking a cigarette right there?
Yeah, I roll my own cigarettes. Yeah.
I didn't know you started again.
American spirits.
No shit. I was gonna say he's just sitting there. I don't smoke weed anymore. As he's lighting a joint, I'm like, Tiki.
No, it's a cigarette. But yeah, you know, like going through all that, and I just tell everyone now, because like when you go through something like that, brother, life moves on. The days keep going on. You can sit there. I took my months. I moped. I whined. I cried. It's grieving. I'm grieving.
Yeah.
You go through the process of grief. I was pissed, and now it's clarity. You can't change what you can't change.
Yeah.
And the best thing you could do is accept the inevitable. You've got to, life goes on. Buy a Harley. Be divorced. That's what I'm doing.
Are you getting, all right, wait. I remember a Facebook post not too long ago said you would be practicing karate in Zach's attic with Karate Kids Are the Best Around playing in the background.
It may have sounded like a joke. I have a treadmill, full weight bench up here and everything. All I do is I come home and I watch 80s action movies.
Yeah.
I just watched my first horror movie in 6 months.
Jesus Christ, man, you're letting me down here.
And the new Scream sucked. Awful.
It's a topic for another video.
Awful. Don't watch it. It'll ruin your mental health. It'll put you in mental hell.
No, I get you, because we won't go into details of it, but you remember me coming over to your house last July at like 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And around that time, and even, I mean, not recently, but I don't know, for maybe like 6 weeks afterwards, maybe 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that, I thought myself about just having a hall pass night and just going back to old ways and just for one night,
it never works as one night.
No, because you know what stopped me? Honestly, I tell everyone this when I've told them the story. My initial thought process was, I'll go back and do it one night because I know I can stop. I know I can handle it. And right there, I was like, I'm out. I'm staying. You know, I didn't drink for a while, maybe like, again, 6 weeks to 2 months, which isn't long. You know, I mean, it's like, well, I'm 2 months sober, but, you know, for someone like me who goes out and has a few drinks every weekend with his bros and shit. But yeah, the words I know I can handle it made me stop, because once you think that, then it turns into I can stop tomorrow. I can stop tomorrow. I can stop tomorrow. You know that. And
the ultimate, besides, you know, like I said, isolation, which people tell you is bad, it's not. Hobbies, dude. Every man, especially men, we require hobbies to keep us on our straight and narrow. I collect comic books. I collect obviously, there's a bunch of bullshit behind me.
Yeah.
I love professional wrestling. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I go to the shows, I do all of it. And you got to keep your fucking brain active, because you sit there and you mope. Nothing good comes out of it.
There's times. I mean, I've been going through this for years. People don't know this. I just started talking about it publicly recently. My close friends know. But, I've had those mornings and occasionally still do, where it's like it's a Saturday and I got, nothing to do, just regular adulting stuff. And I'm just laying in bed till like 10:30. This isn't every week, and don't be calling wellness checks on me, guys. It's just, it happens. It's going to keep happening.
Pink slipping them.
Yeah. No, this has been happening for years. And it probably will continue on. But there'll be mornings where you just can't get out of bed. And it's like, it also double-edged sword, because you don't want to, because you're depressed, but then you get more depressed just lying there. And I have to kind of get up and, smack myself awake and force myself to do it. And it just becomes kind of muscle memory,
You probably had those days where you think that, and then you get out of bed and get moving. You're like, this shit ain't as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think, last Saturday or the one before, I'm not sure. But there was one fairly recently. I had one of those moments, and I couldn't get out of bed. And once I finally started doing it, I got up and started cleaning my condo, because much like you, I have OCD. And shortly into it, I was just kind of like, wasn't even thinking about what was bothering me,
Yeah. Cleanliness, too. Cleanliness is a big part of mental health. And I don't think people take it. I give all my friends this advice. I've cleaned multiple of my friends' houses. A clean environment, people say I have horrible OCD.
Dude, I remember, let me interject for a second. I remember one of the first times I came to your house, we were sitting on the couch watching movies. It was probably for the Halloween special. And I went outside to have a smoke, and I came back, and you put the pillows back to where they were supposed to go from where I was sitting. You knew I was coming back to sit on the couch with you and watch TV.
A perfectly made couch is one of the simple pleasures of this world.
No, I get it. I got a bunch of cords and stuff here, so I can't give you a view of the condo, but everything's where it should be right now, including the cat.
And that plays a major factor. That'll be the number one thing I tell to everyone. Clean your house. You want to get sober? Clean your house and think about getting sober, because it's a lot easier in a clean environment.
Yeah.
But also the OCD, it's a fucking beast.
Well, the hobbies definitely help, because go backtracking again. So I started the Brewster thing or whatever, and I was just kind of doing just random posts. There was no movie of the week, nothing like that. And then, I met you in July of 23. And then in February 24, I'd kind of gone through a small hiccup again. And long story short, when what started off was Ghostbusters. The new Ghostbusters was coming out. I was super excited about it. So I was like, I'll make a whole week of posts just dedicated to Ghostbusters. So the song,
Frozen Empire slap.
Yeah. So I made a bunch of memes for Ghostbusters, whatever. And then something happened where I was like, oh, I'm going to this next week. I should do this movie next week. And then just kind of evolved into the movie of the week. And shortly after I started doing that was when you hit me up to contribute writing to the Cleveland Horror page, and it just kind of spiraled from there. Or not spiraled, but spun off from there. I think I was telling Jennifer Baptist this when I interviewed her on Brewster Vision Presents Brewsteria, little plug, that it was contributing to your page, and then we started talking more, and then you saw I was a trauma nerd, and you had me co-host that event with you, which is how I met her. And then I was like, well, I should do I should do interviews, because she was down for it. And then
you ever want to interview any of those other guys too? I can hit them up for you.
No, I don't like charity work or anything like that.
It's not charity work. Nice dudes, dude.
No, I knew. Who is it?
Robert Pritchard is the coolest man alive.
He's the taller one, right?
No, that's Gary Schneider.
Gary Schneider. He seemed really nice. I talked to him.
Gary gives me parenting advice.
Oh, does he?
And it's crazy, like, us being trauma nerds and going as far. Now I'm just like friends with the whole cast.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. The beauty of putting interest into your hobbies, putting your time and your effort into it, it plays off, man. And I did all that while sober.
Yeah.
Things I wouldn't have achieved if I was still out here getting fucked up, wanting to kill myself because I blew all my serotonin through my nose.
Yeah.
And life's beautiful if you let it be.
No, and that's one of the things that kept me from having that one hall pass night was because, as you just said, it's never just one time. And if I did that, I wouldn't be here right now. Like I last October, I went to Cinema Wasteland because I was there. You know, I go every year, and I wanted to meet Stephen Jeffries and William Ragsdale from Fright Night. Of course, I had to. You know,
I think that's the first Wasteland I've missed in years.
Oh, dude, it was. We'll talk about it later. But I didn't know that Jennifer Baptist was going to be there. And I used to, after our first interview, I used to send her jokes once a week from like old school Saturday Night Live and Living Color, George Carlin, all that kind of stuff. And then I got busy and I missed one week and just stopped. So when I saw her at Wasteland, you know, I went up to her. I'm like, you know, do you remember? And she's like, of course. She stopped sending me jokes. What happened? And I was like, she remembered. So I've been back in touch with her on the weekly basis again. But I'm kind of segueing into what you're talking about being friends with the cast. You know, me and her had actually last time we did the interview, me and her we're still video chatting for about 2 hours afterwards. She's a total sweetheart. We were talking about shit, and I wouldn't have that story to tell if I had went last summer and said fuck it, because I've been down that road. When I was doing that stuff, I had my own apartment. I didn't really have much else. I think I was in a band. And I was just, my job at the time, I was just monkey factory assembly work. So I could do it hungover. You know what I mean? But I didn't have this stuff going for me. I really didn't have any extracurricular activities outside of band practice twice a week. And if I went back to those ways, I know exactly what would happen, dude. I'd be too hungover or too miserable to want to do any of this stuff, you know, or to think of captions for movies or to do. I don't know if you've been watching. I've been posting this thing called Gory Goodies, which is, showing off my nerd collection.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. You got some heat in there. I've always wanted to do the collection videos, but I have too much things.
But then you got tons of content. So Josh Shelton, he's like one of my top engagers on my Facebook page. He had mentioned, because I made a promo for this, which kind of worried some people. Others saw it for what it was. But he had left a comment in there saying that he would love to see some of that stuff. And I feel like such a doucher when I'm making those. But if people want to, you know, if one person requests it, I'll do it. Because, you know, like when I think when you came on Whole Damn Enchilada and I said we were going to kick Rick off and just be the Brewster and Tiki hour, and you're like, give the people what they want. And that's kind of what I did.
People do love me on that show. They do.
And you know, so I made one for him, and I realized the fun part about it, as much as I feel like a douche while I'm doing it, is telling the stories behind it and what I got, you know?
Through that, like I said, this is what you see behind me is not even an inkling of the amount. Like, I've gotten rid of a lot of shit, but also like the collecting keeps me stable.
Yeah,
it's an endorphin rush, you know. I used to get excited when I bought a bag of drugs, and now I get excited when I buy an action figure at Target.
Yeah.
Also, if you haven't checked out these fucking Ben Cooper kids, these are my favorite line NECA has ever dropped. Buy them all. My finger's not moving the way it's supposed to because I'm looking at the camera. Buy all these guys. They're so cool.
So, right.
Good stuff.
When you were talking, you know, you always loved horror or whatever and use it as a way to cope. I mean, did you see any of yourself in the, because I asked Bart this in the interview, which is dropping tonight. Did you ever see yourself in any of the characters in any of these movies, like any of the heroes?
I don't think I have. So on top of being a huge horror nerd, I am an MTV nut.
Yeah.
I love MTV, and a lot of my early years and the generations I was raised in, I take a lot of influence from the Jackass dudes. Like, I think that's what's wrong with boys these days is they weren't raised on Steve-O. And so, I don't know. I've never watched a horror movie and been like, that's me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I've ever had that. It's escapism. I'm also a historian of sorts when it comes to the horror, so like I'll go a whole like couple months without watching an actual horror movie, but I will watch every documentary I can find about horror, like the Into the Darkness, great series. If you guys have never seen those, they're like 7 hours long.
Yeah.
But I mean, the minute details and the deep dives you do and the stories around these movies are just as incredible as the movies themselves. And I'm a big fan of self-expressionism. I think every human should participate in it. We should all shouldn't look the same. We should all look like fucking cretins. And finding out what inspired these movies and then watching the movies with the thought process is really what draws me to them. Anyone can make an action film. Horror films all have deep underlying meanings. There's more brains involved in the horror genre than there is any other genre of film.
What do you say that?
What is you know, but like hearing everything like Toby Hooper went through to make Texas Chainsaw, and what articles were read to make Friday the 13th, and like the relation to real life, and like Frank Henlotter growing up in New York and the relations those films share with New York. I find that stuff completely interesting.
Yeah.
And it drags me in more than the films themselves. This is sometimes Rick will tell me all these movies he's seen, and I am so stuck in 80s horror and 90s horror. I have no clue what new movies come out.
Yeah.
Unless Rick drags me to the theater to watch them.
Rick's always at the theater to watch that shit.
That's the only time. I mean, I'm so behind. Like, I'll go see the main ones. Like, a new Scream comes out. I'm super into indie films. But I'm a big proponent for self-expressionism. I like when you could see the person in the film.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously I'm covered in tattoos. I believe in uniqueness. And so I think I connect with the films that way by being an outcast. That's why I love Trauma.
Yeah.
It's weird. You're an outcast and everyone thinks they're just dumb movies. But if you look at the underlying things in a Trauma movie, they're really fucking smart.
I was talking to one of my Trauma guests about that. Maybe you know what? It might have just been you. We might have just been talking on Talkin Tapes that you scrubbed from the internet, you rat bastard. Yeah, there is a lot of underlying stuff. I don't know. It was the Toxic Avenger commentary we watched right before the Q&A session. They were Lloyd was talking about that in the commentary.
Oh yeah, everyone thinks Lloyd's just a rambling old man and he's a fucking genius.
I don't need to see him in a thong for a Poultrygeist, though.
He is a rambling old man still. I run into Lloyd in the height of when I was going to everything. I ran into Lloyd 3 times a year. Lloyd is called my phone.
Yeah.
Every time I see Lloyd, he says Tiki. He hugs me and then he hands me a business card and tells me to call him. We have each other's numbers.
Yeah.
You know, but if the Trauma especially really brought a sense of community to me. My first ever horror hound, my first ever convention, I got to meet Lloyd Kaufman for the first time. And I'm an emotional man. I cried when I met Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah.
You know, because it's far beyond the Toxic Avenger at this point in my life. I've read his books. I've done everything. I followed him on all social media. And Lloyd Kaufman is the king of self-expressionism besides John Waters.
Yeah. Be
weird, be happy, be yourself.
Was that your words of wisdom before we cut this episode?
I don't know. How long do these things run?
We usually go for an hour.
You want me to freestyle the next 10 minutes? I'll rap.
No. Actually, I mean, so as you know, as we've talked or whatever, and I mentioned on Facebook or whatever, one of the reasons I did this was because I think I came up with the idea in January. I'd have to go back and look, doesn't matter. But it seemed like a lot of people were dealing with the January blues. You know, as you said to yourself, the seasonal blues and stuff like that. And I had thought about just doing a video, just kind of getting stories from people and whatnot. And then I had so much feedback for it, that you being one of them, that, you know, I was like, okay, well, we'll do it as a series. And I had decided that, you know, because, you know, I don't talk about my stuff. Maybe I'll hit you up on rare things, but I typically just kind of deal with it on my own. But I thought maybe if people knew, because, you know, I not to brag or anything or look like that, but my life's not too bad. You know, I have a lot of fun moments and stuff like that, but I only post about that stuff. And no one, you know, I'm not going to talk about any kind of other stuff like that because I'm just trying to inspire people and stuff. And I thought maybe if I started talking about my issues as well with other people, it would show them, look, even these folks who look like they have it all together, they still go through it. And that'll help me because I know there's some people out there who are still going through it right now. And I'm really hoping that these videos and this kind of stuff inspires them to get on the right track because, you know, we miss them out here. You know, we want them to do the best they can despite everything. And sorry. You know, so if there's any words of wisdom you go by to anyone, you know,
reach out to your friends. Tell your friends you love them. I love you is not a scary word. I say it to everyone I love. I tell Brewster I love him. I tell Rick I love him. He doesn't say it back, but I say it.
He doesn't.
I tell Cass, I tell Kylie I love them. Tell people you love them. Tell people you care about them. And be ignorantly yourself. Because this world, you only get one of you. And people want the real you, not a fictionalized version. So you like weird colored hair and you like to dress weird. Self-expressionism, as I've already said in this. Be yourself. If it makes you happy, fuck what everyone else thinks. Check on your friends. And if you need advice, you need anything, you reach out. There's always someone with an ear who will help you where you need to be. And if that doesn't work, America doesn't have the greatest healthcare system, but going to speak to a medical professional is not something to be afraid of. It is not something to judge. It is a wonderful tool we have in this beautiful country we live in. And it's something you should take advantage of if you seriously have, you know, things you don't think you can handle and your friends can't handle. But I promise you, no matter what, your friends would rather listen to your problems than see you in a casket. And as a guy who's tried to do dangerous things to himself, none of it's worth it. It's not worth it. You get one life to live, and you got to kind of grab it by the balls and take it as it goes. Because life's worth living, dude. No matter what, no matter the bullshit thrown your way, you can fucking catch it and throw it back. Every human is capable and deserving of happiness. And that's all I got to say about that.
You're getting me emotional, you bastard.
Thanks. That was from the Karate Kid 2.
No, you're fine. But no, there are numbers you can call, and that's why I keep at the end credits of the episode. It's you call or text 988. As far as I've looked into, that is the international number for the U.S. That's not just for our area; it's for all over the place, you know. And I hope that people reach out to it. And I guess before we part ways, your bit of advice: if you were one of those types to have trouble reaching out or be hesitant to reaching out, what would you tell them to? You know, help get over that, because it's hard for, especially like you said, as guys, it's hard for us to reach out sometimes. So what would be your words of wisdom for that?
In the year of 2026, all dudes are a little gay. Who fucking cares if you need some mental health? Who cares if you put a penis in your mouth? And all that matters is you're alive. You know, it's fucking, it's okay to kiss the homies, and it's okay to tell them you need help.
I'll go with you on the second part, man.
You're all right. Don't be afraid, man. Reach out, because, like I said, life's worth living, and you don't start till you start. There's the older you get, the more the old dude's advice makes sense to you. You know what I mean? The old drunk guy at the bar that gave you unnecessary advice you didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
Those things start to make sense the older you get. And you could start life any day. You don't have to live in a fucking shell. We're not superheroes. We don't have to wear a costume. And life's beautiful, man. You just got to make it.
Dude, I agree with you there, because this like I know I'm doing it for the right reasons, and the feedback has been very positive, but it's insanely hard for me to break character and not tell jokes 24/7 with this kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm the worst about it.
You
I am me, like I said, going through a divorce. This woman still has to hear my jokes way too much. And I think jokes are a great sense of comfort, dude. Humor is one of the greatest ways, even in the shittiest of experiences. If you can make yourself laugh about what's going on, you can get over it.
You're not wrong. That's why my humor is the way it is, but just having to break character to show people because, rather be there and be sensitive to you in your time of need than than not suck up my pride for my ego of no chick flick moments. You know what I mean?
Like I said, we're all kind of gay. It doesn't matter. 2026, dude, man's out. They like that we cry and watch Hallmark movies now.
I cry on occasion. I don't watch the Hallmark movies though because I've seen one. Go ahead.
I cry enough for everyone I know. I cry at almost all movies, dude. I'm a crier. I'm not ashamed of it.
All right. We'll part. I cried during My Dog Skip for sure. That's one of the movies I'll admit to crying to.
The one movie that makes me, two movies that make me weep like a baby. One, Bridge to Terabithia.
Okay.
No one told me what was going to happen when I was a kid, and I watched it. I remember being like 10 years old, bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
Funny Boy with Shia LaBeouf.
I've never seen either one of them.
Watch Honey Boy with Shia LaBeouf. It's a masterpiece. That's why we call my son Honey Boy. Yeah, his nickname's after Shia LaBeouf.
All right, fair enough. I got one movie that makes me cry, but I'm not going to announce it online. When we sign off on this podcast, I'll tell you because you're going to be like, why? And I'll have to explain it to you.
Cash at me and I'll leak it.
Fuck yeah. You motherfucker.
I can be bought.
All right. Well, we're coming up to an hour, so let's get out of here. I want to, dude, I on top of thanking you for coming out here and talking with me on this kind of stuff, just honestly, thank you for everything you've done in the past 3 years. I literally would not be here if it weren't for a few people, and you're one of them. So I want you to know I appreciate everything you've done for you.
What are friends for? Same to you, brother.
Yeah, well, I don't think I can ever repay you for what you've done. So
you can. I'll send you my Cash App after this.
All right, that sounds fair. I mean, that doesn't sound like a jip at all. So, all right. Well, thank you for coming on here, and we'll have to have you on for a more lighthearted, fun talk for Brewster Vision presents Brewsteria at some points. But is there anything you want to, leave with before we go?
Hey, look me in my eye. We love you. Don't forget that.
He's not wrong.
This was a more serious one, so I didn't wear sunglasses this time like I normally do.
You didn't? No, I'm very impressed.
Don't need those.
No, take them off. I want to see your baby browns.
They're hazel. When they're open, women love to see them.
Well, that just spiked their viewership. All right, man. Well, we'll get this out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Tiki, again, thank you for
no problem
coming on here. I love you to death, brother. And then Brewster, this is Tiki, and this has been Mental Hell. And until next time, stay cool, freaky frighteners.